Hi, everyone, and welcome to Live with Five today. We have a couple of guests here. We've got Jodi Hickenlooper, who's a counselor here at Mighty CWI, and we also have Holly Higby, who's going to be helping us as our ASL interpreter. Today, we're going to be talking about our mental well-being during this pandemic that we've been going through for the last few weeks. And Jodi, as you heard this morning, the governor announced that he's going to extend the stay-at-home order for an additional 2 weeks. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit today to get some ideas. What are some good activities people can do during this time to stay active if they're getting, a little cabin fever and all that?
Right. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, we are extending our at home for a couple more weeks. And I know for some folks that's some hard news to hear. And for some folks, maybe that's great. So I think some things that are really important for everyone to keep in mind is that we want to still maintain some kind of a routine and balance in our life to keep things as normal as we can, right? So maintaining those like getting up in the morning at the same time, having our daily routines, having our evening routines, getting some good sleep, and just trying to keep some things as normal as we can, even though we're at home with our families, our pets. You might be able to see behind me, I got some little coworkers here that have been helping while I've been at work. And that makes our day a little bit disruptive. So building in any of those little bits of structure that we can be really, really helpful for us. So things like, now we're all working at home now. And so I have for myself a space where I work, and that's separate from the space where I do other things in my life. So when I'm working, I'm at work, and then I leave this room, close the door, and do other things. So trying to maintain that kind of balance and space in my life. So that's going to look different for everybody, but I think it's important to kind of keep that as normal as you can while you're staying at home.
So, during these times, a lot of people, they're experiencing anxiety for a variety of reasons, right? But I think
Right.
that's one of the main things. Like, I like how you said that, how it's important to compartmentalize work and at home, right? And that balancing act that we normally have. But can you tell me a little bit about the psychology behind, we've got so many things. We've got email,
Mhm.
we've got Skype, we may have a Slack channel we're keeping an eye on, and then our phones are buzzing, with texts and emails and things
Mhm.
like that. Can you tell us why is that adding to the anxiety?
Yeah, so I think what we're looking at right now is kind of unique in most of our lifetimes, right? We've got this sort of global level of anxiety that's really high for so many reasons. We're dealing with a ton of unknowns right now. Um, it's a little bit unsure how long are we going to be at home. People have unknowns with their financial situation, with their families, with their health. And then we're on top of that, we have all these devices giving us information 24/7. So we're on social media, we're on our computers, we're looking at the TV. And so we've got some information overload that can be happening as well. And all of those things combined together keeps our minds just spinning with a lot of what if, and kind of speculating and wondering what's going on. And with all of that happening, any just regular stuff in our life, our anxiety and worry levels are just going to rise and rise and rise. And everyone handles that a little bit differently. And so if that's something that people are dealing with their anxiety getting really high, self-care around that's going to be really important for them. So things like having time to unplug
Mm.
your devices. During this time of physical distancing, we want to stay socially connected. And we also want to make sure that we're spending time disconnected from our devices. So letting our brains rest a little bit, limiting our news intake, right? That in small chunks, and not have the news on all day, because that's going to increase our anxiety levels as well. So being mindful of all of the information that we're taking in and the amount of time we're spending on our screens and on our devices, and get outside. We're so lucky that we've been having some pretty nice weather. You can appropriately social distance outside, and sunshine is really good for us and fresh air. So, take a walk just around the neighborhood, or, maybe take a drive and just don't get out of the car. So just changing up the scenery a little bit can be so helpful with some of those anxieties.
You know, you mentioned mindful, and are there some specific activities? I know we have like Mindful Monday activities and things like that. Can you describe some of the different opportunities we have for people to engage with counseling services?
Yeah. So mindfulness is going to be super helpful with folks right now dealing with anxiety and stress. And as you mentioned, we have some things through counseling services that we're offering right now. Mindful Mondays have kind of gone to the wayside a little bit, but have been
Oh, no.
replaced with the Mindful Minute that happens on Thursday afternoons. And that's on the Student Affairs event calendar. Anybody is welcome to join us. We get together just like this on Zoom. We talk a little bit about mindfulness, and then we do a mindfulness practice all together to just center ourselves. And so that connection piece with the mindfulness piece has been really great. And we're also trying to find other ways to connect with students and kind of work on that wellness. On Wednesday at noon, we do Wellness Wednesday, and we just get together and have a little chat while we're having our lunch. And anybody's welcome to join that as well. So, and we talk about strategies that we're using to kind of keep ourselves centered and keep our lives as normal as we can, and how we're all coping with this being at home thing. So it's great to have that kind of discussion around what people are doing and what's really working for folks.
And so with people, some people that are experiencing anxiety in this time, why is it important for them to share those thoughts and feelings with friends or family and not to bottle them up?
Right? Yeah, I think anytime we're dealing with emotions, especially ones that might be really distressing or uncomfortable, sharing those emotions really helps ease that stress. We get really caught up with what's happening in our minds, and our minds aren't always a very friendly place to be, and not always a very truthful place to be too, right? We make up stories. And so sharing with other people and getting those emotions out there and talking about them helps us work through the emotions and helps us connect in a way that we can understand we're not alone. And we're not going through this alone. It's a shared experience. And there's a lot of power in realizing that we're going through things together and you don't have to go through things by yourself.
Excellent. Well, I think that's it. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add while we're chatting?
Awesome. Actually, I just, I'm going to plug Student Affairs a little bit here. The whole Student Affairs group at CWI is working really hard to try and stay engaged with our students. So we are planning lots of virtual activities so you all can come and get connected in a fun way to, maybe do something a little bit different than what you've been doing. Also, if you find that your anxiety, your stress, your worry is getting really high and getting into levels where it's difficult for you to function, please reach out to counseling services. We're here for students. You can find us on our webpage, shoot us an email, and we'll get back to you. And we are doing meetings virtually with students. So it'll be just like this on the Zoom, and still here to help. So if things are getting tough, we encourage students to reach out.
All right. Well, excellent. Well, thanks again, Jodi and Holly. And thanks again to all you for tuning in this afternoon. This is our first virtual Live with Five. But hey, if you have an idea or a suggestion for a Live with Five, go ahead and send me an email. That's ashleysmith5@cwi.edu. Thanks again for watching.